This
Why?
okay,
we're good. Hello, good afternoon. Wow, we are maxing out this broadcast already. I can see that. So if you're not on here to comment, I'm sorry.
Frozen.
All right, are we good? Are we frozen still? Okay, we're good. I think we totally blew up the broadcast, so it might have frozen for a second. All right, I am Kara Lewis Newton. I am an exclusive Black Status presenter with Younique. If you want to share this Periscope, you can swipe to the right or swipe down on Androids and it will share with your followers. This may be one that you want to share. I'll just warn you. Also, I am the team leader of Team Flourish. So if you are on here, this is specifically for my team, Team Flourish, hashtag Team Flourish. Yay, hey Mar. But I open it up to the company so that you all can join in on the fun. So today is a special Periscope that I have been thinking about in my head for quite a while now and finally convinced my love to join me in this. But today is called Married with Chaos, and we're going to talk about how the things we have done that have worked, not worked, in this life, this new life that we have where I am running my own business, which is brand new to our family. So Luke is going to give a lot of the perspective from his angle of how we've dealt with some things and how we have made this work for us. So I'm going to turn it over to my husband. This is Luke Newton.
Hi, everybody.
AKA Adam Levine lookalike, as you all know him.
Sugar. No, just kidding. Hey, it's great to see you guys. Good to be with you today. Really excited. And we have spent a good bit of time just thinking through the journey that we've had and some of the experiences we've had in that journey and what might be helpful to you guys. Just a little bit about what I've done and kind of the role that I've played. I was formerly a worship pastor for about 15 years and was just looking for something different, and a season of change was on the horizon, and Kara was doing so well with Younique that it just really presented an opportunity for us to kind of move forward with the journey that we're on. So hopefully some of what we've experienced would be helpful to you. So that's what our hope is today.
We are doing this because after a year and a half of me being in direct sales with Younique and reaching the top of the company, it's impacted our life. It's impacted our life in an amazing way. Like Luke just said, he was able to walk away from his career and find something else because of Younique. We have done things as a family that we would have never been able to do because of Younique. But there's also been some things that have come because of it that have been hard, that have been not easy to walk through. And I've watched that in a lot of the other women that I've worked with that are on my team. And being at a Black Status level, I'm watching it in a lot of the other top leaders. This is not easy. And so we thought, it might be helpful for a couple to just get up in front of you and tell you how we're doing it, how we're doing it well and how we're doing it not well. So that's kind of, why we're doing this.
Yeah. Well, I think we were just chatting a little bit before we got started, and Kara mentioned that she's experienced a lot of good from Younique, and there's been a lot of great things that have come out of her experience with Younique. But unless our marriage is good, then all of that is really for naught. It's really kind of a worthless endeavor because it's not for us and for our family. And what we wanted to do was just share with you guys some of what has worked and some of what hasn't, but maybe the things that have worked, why they've worked for us, and maybe you can find some ideas or encouragement yourself from our experience. So that would be our hope. And so just to start off today, I think, the thought comes to mind of what does it mean to have a wife that does direct sales if you're a husband, and what does that look like? Well, first off, I would definitely say that having a wife that does direct sales definitely changes things. All for the better. There are some things that are adjustments, and there are things that you have to process and talk through as a couple and as a family as well. But it changes things. It changes your wife. It changes her time. It changes her confidence. hopefully it changes her confidence for the better, because she finds a sense of fulfillment and reward and enjoyment from what she's doing in direct sales. And I know that's particularly true of Unique, because there's just a lot of fun that's there. But in addition to changing your wife, it changes your family too. That dynamic can look different for everybody. But for us, there were some things that just processing that at the onset, it's a little uncertain. There's kind of an uncertainty, like, wow, our life is really changing right now. What does that mean? And a little bit of fear can creep in, some fear of the unknown, about what will our life look like in a year? What will it look like in 3 and 5 years? So kind of found myself having to deal with some of that fear of embracing the new normal. And there were really 3 things that I found I had to process. So first was really there was some changes in our life that were going on at the same time. That's kind of the funny nature of change, I think, is it's never really just confined to one single thing in your life that changes. It's kind of like a snowball effect. When one thing starts changing, everything starts changing. And so you have to process a lot. Like this was like last year, I believe we kind of started that snowball, and I changed professions. We got a new house. We changed churches, and our kids changed schools. So that was a lot of change for us to, as a family, just embrace and understand all the implications of it and what it really looked like for our kids and for us. And one of the things that was helpful, and I think could be helpful for you as well, is really the piece of identity. You've got to find your identity in more than just a role, whether it be a good role and a valuable role like husband and like father, and like person in ministry, whatever that role is, there's got to be an independent identity that comes from something else. And what the journey for me was really looking back and seeing, that God had made me exactly who I needed to be. And that's right, yeah, to be his child and to be, called out by him. But more importantly, just to be me, that he had made me perfectly and uniquely. And I read this book called The Person Called You. It's a great book. I would definitely recommend it. But there was a quote in there where he was just really unpacking some of the idea that David writes in the Psalms, that that we were fearfully and wonderfully made. And I loved that idea. Like, I don't dwell too much often on that. Like, we're wonderfully made. Like, there's wonder in what God's made in us that is just inside of us. It's not related to our performance or what roles we're filling, but it's so much more than that. And I recently read a book as well. It was a great question. I thought I'd pitch it to you guys as well. Was, if you were on a desert island and you had no other roles other than just being there, how would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10? And a lot of people would answer that differently. And when I originally read the question myself, I thought, I'd probably say I was at 8, maybe. And the author went on to say, why would you rate yourself as an 8? A lot of people do that. And he's like, you should rate yourself as a 10. Everyone should be a 10, because in your mind, you should know that you're worth so much more than the roles that you're filling. I mean, those are an outflow of who you are. But for me, that was a huge piece, because what began to change in all of those changes that we were experiencing was really the question I was asking, what does it mean for me to look, to be the provider for our family, to be the husband and the father that I need to be. The amazing part was, in all of that change, was that what Kara was doing with Unique in that time was really setting the stage for me to grapple with some of those things and to come to good terms with them, because there wasn't an intense financial pressure on us. And so I'm really thankful for Unique, and I'm thankful for Kara putting in the time that she has, because that's really set up the stage for me to process. And it gave me a chance to breathe for a couple of months financially as I was working through what kind of job to get. And I wound up finding a great job that was best for me in this season of my life. And I'm really thrilled about that. So one key thing I think I'd say, just to kind of summarize that, is I learned how to lean into the direction that our life was moving instead of away from it. It can be a fearful thing, the uncertainty, but I had to learn to lean into that uncertainty and to trust where it was going, and to trust the one who is leading us there. So,
but I think we did not do it perfectly.
No.
And I would say, Unique has been an incredible blessing. And a part of our story is that Luke was able to step down from the career that he was in, really feeling like he was supposed to do something else, but not exactly sure what that was. And so it gave him 4 months to kind of figure that out, and Unique provided that. But we did not, we did not always do it perfectly. There were definitely days that I felt like I had to tiptoe around Luke and not share my successes and not talk about Unique for fear that it was gonna make him feel bad about himself, or wasn't what he wanted to hear. But what we learned during that time is that tiptoeing around it was not the answer. The best thing for me to do was to say to him, how are you feeling right now about the time that I'm spending on this? How are you feeling right now about my paycheck? How are you feeling right now about the attention I'm getting? Tiptoeing around the issue only made it worse. It only made it worse.
Well, and there were definitely times, and I think I was pretty clear, when I wasn't really okay with where things were at, and with how things were going, and what the time commitment looked like for Kara. And we had to walk through that, and we had to talk through those feelings. And, I really came to the place where I realize now, I guess answering the question really why I'm okay with her doing this. And I think, I learned I found a few trade-offs, really, is what it boils down to. And that's a really good thing if you embrace them. And so for me, some of the trade-offs were, she spent a little time in the evening after dinner working, because that's sort of prime time for Unique. And I'd spend a little more time with the kids in that time, because they were, it was a great opportunity. They were kind of free, and, she needs to work. So I traded off maybe some of my time that I used to spend doing a little work in the early evening, just after dinner, to spend some time with the kids and really focus in on them before they get off to bed. And I would also say, I think a big reason that I'm okay with her doing this is the potential that I feel like I ride on with what this can be. It's definitely changed our lives in the past 18 months. And I think if I consider where we're going to be in 18 more months and what's going to transpire, there's a lot of potential, and there's a lot of hopefulness for where things are going because of where things were and where they are now. And like I mentioned earlier, just with me needing to find a new job, her success with Unique brought me the opportunity to find that best job that was out there for me, and not settling for something just because we had a financial need at the time. So that was really, really helpful. There are some struggles though, and I know that you had mentioned one of your biggest struggles is really just those feelings of guilt that are kind of around the time commitment that Unique is for you, and time that might be stolen from your family, or
you go into direct sales thinking, now I get to be a stay-at-home mom, or now I have all this time with the kids, or I in my head that's what it was, and then you realize you're not. You're really a work-at-home mom. Or if you work full-time, this is just kind of a little side thing, but then when you start to see your business take off, you realize how much time it really needs, and there's like all this guilt that is surrounded, doing that and trying to figure out that balance and realizing.
I think it's still a frequent realization we have that your work.
I say all the time, but I'm a
job.
stay-at-home mom. And he's like, no, you're not. Like you work at home, but you're not. You don't have the time of someone that doesn't actually have a job outside of the house. So, so how do I deal with those feelings of guilt? Because I commit so much time to Unique. And I think the biggest reason is that, and I did a Periscope on this not too long ago called Why Guilt, but it's something Luke told me. And I was really struggling with the amount of time that I spent on Unique. And he said, the amount of time you spend on something does not equal what you value the most. So just because you spend a lot of time on something, that does not mean that it's the most important thing in your life. And that was so freeing for me. But it's true if you think about it. We spend 8 hours a night sleeping, how many hours a day eating, how much, and that's not what's most important to me. And so that was really freeing for me.
I think we're told that.
We're told that in a lot of settings, that whatever you spend the most time on, whatever you think about the most, that's what's most important to you. And realizing that and really like believing that that's not true has helped me so much. But I think even more than that, because that's what he lives by, Luke never makes me feel guilty. And I would just encourage you as a husband, your wife, I promise you, even if she's not telling you, she's living with so much guilt already that she's put on herself. And that for every mom, for every wife, for every female, every day is a battle of what to do with that guilt, of where to put that guilt, whether to live in it or whether to let it go. And it's so much easier to let it go when your husband isn't putting that guilt on you. So when he feels like I've been on the phone too much, not responding to me in a way that makes me feel guilty, but responding to me in love and saying, hey, you know, there have been times where Luke will say, hey, you think you can put your phone down for a few minutes? I'd love to talk with you about this. That is so much easier and more palatable for me than if he does it in a way that makes me feel guilty.
Well, you have to work at it. I mean, sometimes your initial thought is, why is she on that freaking phone again? You know, like, doesn't she know that, you know, that I have some things I want to talk about? So a lot of it's approach, a lot of it's awareness of how you're feeling. And instead of going in, leading with your feeling in the approach, you know, keeping some consideration for her and her time in just, you know, a simple request, hey, let's take some time and talk. But that's work. It can be work at times.
But it would be crushing to me if I was feeling guilt. I wouldn't be able to do it. And I think that is the biggest, you know, my team is amazing. You all know my sales and the skills that I learned in this business, they've gotten me far. But if I was getting guilt from Luke, I wouldn't be able to, like, I would have never made it to where I am at this point. It's because of that I've been able to be successful, honestly. But we have a really busy life. We have 3 kids. We haven't even mentioned our kids. Oh my gosh. See, the things you talk and think about sometimes are not the most important things, right? Because we have 3 children. 3, yes. It's not just Jack, since many of you know Jack. We have Silas, who's 11, Lila, who's 9, and Jack, who's 5. And they're all very busy. They're all involved in things. And so it's not just unique. Luke has a really demanding job right now too. And we have 3 kids that are involved in things. So we have a challenge of finding balance.
We definitely do. And I think maybe just to share a couple of things that we sort of made note of that might be helpful for you that we've used to help us find some of that balance. Mm-hmm. I think a simple one is, you know, I agreed a couple of years ago as she was getting started with Unique. She asked if we could get a cleaning lady just twice a month. And that was
one of our areas that did not go over well.
I don't know about that really, but and then so it was a pretty short time frame. I just agreed. You know, it's kind of like, yeah, you know, we need to do this. It'll really help. And you know, honestly, it's really helped our time because she has some comfort in knowing, hey, the house is going to be really cleaned. You know, in a matter of weeks, every other week, basically. And the other sort of silver lining of the whole thing really was that we got a great friendship with the lady that cleans our house, and it's been really neat to just kind of.
She joined my team.
Oh
actually,
yeah,
she joined my team.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's a great lady, and so just a chance for further relationship that's there. You know, it really far outweighed any worries that I had. You know, however legitimate those were at the time, but right now the cost to me of that is far greater to go ahead and pay that than it would be, you know, if we had to, because I believe a lot of that would fall back to on your plate, which in turn would fall back on mine.
And
eventually
it goes back
to
to
get
that
it
guilt
done.
again. A lot of my guilt was that I wasn't keeping the house like I thought I should as a stay-at-home mom, and taking that off of my plate just relieved me of so much guilt.
Sure.
Yeah, just that was huge. That was a big one.
I think also for me personally, just seeing opportunities as they were there, like just doing a little more with laundry and some house upkeep, you know, in those in between times when the house isn't getting cleaned. You know, so I started to lean into those opportunities, and you know, I sometimes do better and sometimes do worse in that capacity.
Sometimes our kids have clothes. Sometimes.
Yeah, always clothes. Socks, rarely.
Rarely.
But, yeah, so I mean that was big. Also, I graciously accepted more simple dinners.
Yeah, I used to be a fabulous cook. Truthfully, like I've told you before, like I always need a creative outlet. And so when I was doing my previous career, which was social work, my creative outlet was cooking. And so I did spend a lot of time.
We ate really good.
We ate really well.
Yeah.
Now it's grilled cheese and tomato soup a lot. And
And it's fine.
Yeah, Luke's just, because that's not what's most important. It's not. I mean, you know, it'll come back into our life again someday, but right now that's just not where we're at.
Yeah. Well, and I think that kind of really is a part of the bigger thing, you know, like that we're actually together having a meal rather than the fact that, you know, what we're eating isn't, you know, like French cuisine or something that's you know, but it's still very, very good. I mean, don't get me wrong. She still does a fine job and feeds our family very well. You know, and I think there were some other things that we sort of identified that were non-negotiables.
Non-negotiables. So remember that, non-negotiables.
Those are things that we said, you know, if we were really going to really pinpoint how do we find balance with our life, with all of the craziness, I think the non-negotiables are really the key for us. So,
laundry is a negotiable thing, apparently. In our socks are negotiable.
Socks are definitely negotiable.
But there are some non-negotiables. Yeah. Here's some of them for
These
us.
are them for us. Dinner at the table every night. We have that as a staple of our life. And we really have, even, you know, before the kids were born, we always did that. You know, we had a dedicated dinner. The two of us would sit down and just share our day together. And then once our kids were born, we pulled the high chair up to the table and had the same experience with them from day one. And so we still have that. And it's fantastic. That's one of our big non-negotiables.
It might be frozen pizza now.
Yeah,
but
it's okay, you know. But we talk and we spend time and we actually go through highs of the day and lows of the day. And it's just, you know, the kids love that chance to, you know, to share what was going on in their day as well. I think the other thing for us was really just a set bedtime for the kids. It can be really chaotic when they're not, you know, on a really good schedule of knowing that when we say it's time to go to bed, that's what that means. That it doesn't mean 2 hours from now. You know, I mean, it might mean like 15 minutes, but you know, that's usually the longest it tends to go because they know that's
and they also know that it's because we need time together. They know that that's why we do it. And Luke puts them to bed every night. Actually, it's not on me. I'm doing all the getting home from school, getting homework, dinner, all of that. And Luke has put the kids to bed every night for the last 5 years. Probably.
I didn't always like it.
It wasn't.
Yeah. Not always great, but it's still No, I do enjoy that time, and you know, it's definitely something I've come to look forward to every night. The other thing is us going to bed together and waking up together.
Huge.
You know, it can be, there are times that work really has to happen, or maybe even just for me, sometimes I have to wind down a little bit. You know, my mind won't actually shut off, even though I'm fairly sleepy or tired rather. I don't get sleepy right away. So, you know, we go lay in bed together, and she might crash at like 10 p.m. and I might watch something until about 11, and then. But
I don't have a job to get up for in the morning, and he does. But I still get up when he gets up because I want to be getting up and getting ready and getting breakfast and doing that when he's up and ready. I want him to see me in the morning before he leaves for work. He works a 10-hour day, and I don't want to only have 10 minutes in the morning with him before he leaves. So we're getting up, we're going to bed and getting up at the same time every day.
Yeah, and definitely a few other things. Really, church every week is a non-negotiable for us, and our kids know that, and so that's built into our schedule, and we love that time together, which has recently taken a new shape. You know, in that I'm not working on Sundays anymore, and I've really enjoyed that piece for me to be able to be with my kids and going to church and experiencing church alongside them. The other thing is vacations every year.
Yeah,
we do that every year.
Non-negotiable.
Got to have time to get away and refresh and recharge. And so we do that every year without fail. And then lastly, sex at least 10 times a week.
No.
No? Is that not right?
I told him, I said, we need to say this, and here's why. Because I was recently asked, like just in the last few days, how do you have time to do everything? You know, when you look at someone that has $9,000 in companies or in PRS a month, and then is Black status, so they have a team. Recently someone asked me, when do you have sex?
It's really the only other thing you do. Like you sell makeup and then have sex, and then sell some more makeup and have. Is it right? No.
So you know, it's just a non-negotiable. It's a non-negotiable. It is something that is central to our relationship. And I laughed. I said, you know what? Some mornings you just you just use your shower because there just isn't time in the rest of the week, right? So, no, but it's important, and that's a non-negotiable for us. It's so important for a relationship. And I learned the hard way in our marriage. We did not have the greatest communication in that area. And in the last, I would probably say 7 to 10 years, it was the first 7 years that were really hard for me to understand that how important that is. And why is your okay? And I cannot tell you how much healthier our relationship is because we've made that a non-negotiable. So, a lot of these non-negotiables are sacrifice. It's not always easy to come up with a dinner every night. It would be a lot easier to say, go pick something up at Taco Bell and take the kids with you.
Which happens.
It does happen.
Yeah.
Right. It does happen occasionally. It would be a lot easier to just not have a set time for the kids every night and just kind of let things happen the way they do. And, same with sex. Like it would be a lot easier some weeks to just say, I am too busy and I am too tired. But it's a non-negotiable because it's what I value. So, and just to go back to the idea of what you spend the most time on is not what you value the most. And so I think the question is, so then how do you know what you value the most? And I think it's going back to those non-negotiables in your life. Like, that's how you know what you value the most. It's the things that you don't change, the things that you don't move around. I change unique. I move that around in my schedule. I shut that off when I need to. But I still spend the most time on that. But that's negotiable. Yeah. Dinner with my kids, not negotiable. Sex with my husband, not negotiable. Church on the weekend, not negotiable. And that's how you know what you value the most.
Well, and I'd even say, I would add to that, I think there's a tone that gets expressed. There's a tone that you walk through those things with that's super important. Because they can begin to feel just like, kind of the grind of day to day and week to week. And we've certainly felt that. But for us, it's kind of walking through each of those with the idea that love has to lead. And when love leads in each of those experiences, then it's not, hey, I have to sit for 30 minutes with my family at dinner because we do this. It's our non-negotiable, and it's got to be 30 minutes or else it's not important, right? Well, the reality is 10 minutes go by and Jack hasn't eaten half of his dinner and he has no socks on and he decides to jump up and go do something and, sometimes no shirt either for that matter. We do clothe our kids, actually, believe it or not. And he's up from the table. He's like, can I be excused? Because he didn't really want to eat all of it. And so after we deal with him not eating, but hey, we had 10 minutes of loving interaction as a family. And that's what's key. Love has to lead. And if you lead from that place, whether it be dinner, whether it be putting the kids to bed, getting the family in the car to go to church, all of those things, doing it out of love, then those 10 minutes of love are far greater than 30 minutes of obligation for a family. And so that's what we've discovered, that the tone is the most important and you have to lead with love.
Yeah. So that pretty much sums up. We fight a lot. I mean, if anyone who's close to us knows, we fight a lot. We're both firstborns. Our kids will tell you that it's terrible. It's terrible. Our kids will tell you that we fight a lot. But they'll also tell you that we fight for about 2 minutes and then it's over. So we fight well. We've learned to fight well.
And make up well.
We never attack each other's character, ever. That is a non-negotiable. When we fight, there's never character attacking.
We never really have talked about those things. We just sort of...
Because we let love lead.
We've fought so much as well.
We are like experts in that.
Yeah, it's true.
So we will take a few questions now. This is so new to Luke. And I'm so proud of you for not getting distracted by all the words.
All the hearts.
Yeah, that's hard to do in the comments.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll take a few questions from you. We'll answer them the best that we can without fighting. Okay, you're a huge role model. Oh, you're welcome. Learn to fight well. Exactly. Do I have specific times that I put down the phone? And how long have we been married? We'll be married 15 years this summer. Yeah. Do I have specific times that I put down the phone?
No. Not specific times, right?
No.
But I think you understand what Kara has is a sense of where things are at with our family, and if we're all, sometimes it's just the mood that we're in and the family's all together after a dinner. and we get the kids actually help clean up a lot of the times. Some of the time we have to ask them, other times they're there cleaning, and we've just kind of made it a thing with our family that we don't necessarily force them or do every night chores, and that's really facilitated them wanting to help most of the time and asking to help clean up. But hey, while we're kind of cleaning up dinner, Kara gets to some work, and
I sit right here at the kitchen island with everyone.
So we're all kind of together. She doesn't alienate herself.
I don't alienate myself from the family, I guess,
or
isolate myself from the family. Do I turn it off during dinner? No, I don't have my phone on during dinner. Yeah, no, we don't use our phones at dinner.
Yeah.
No. How do I make time for everything? Well, and I think it's really important. A lot of you know, and I've said this, we have 2 older kids that are in school, and Jack's 5, and so he's self-sufficient for the most part. So, I get most of my work done during the day. I work a lot, though. I really do, and I don't, hide that. I have gotten to where I am because I put a lot of hours in. The great part about it is that my hours are flexible, and it's negotiable. I can decide that Luke and I are going to sit for an hour and have coffee, and I'm going to push my work off for an hour, So we don't look old enough to be married for 15 years.
It's because we were kids.
I have Botox?
We were 12
I don't
when we
have
got married.
We were children when we got married. We were I was 19 when we got engaged. So yeah. Can you call my husband? Have him watch the Periscope. Are we schedule oriented? No.
Well, no. Is the short answer to that question. No, we do keep a schedule, and we know we've got a calendar, and
I suck at keeping a schedule.
Well,
I do.
You're working at it.
I'm going to be 35 next month, and Luke is 35.
How did I get Kara?
How did
to
get me involved?
No, how did you get me more involved in
How did I get?
business?
And I think that's a huge thing, is that we talked about this. Unique is not mine. Even as much as it is mine, I continually talk about it as if it's ours. Yes, it's my face. Yes, it's my brand, but it's ours. The money is not mine. The business is not mine. It's ours. And I ask Luke all the time for advice, for wisdom, for insight. He knows the girls on my team, and he could tell you all my elites right now. He knows it. He's interested. This is something that's changing our lives, and it's our lives. It's our family. It's not me.
I think you care about it, and I want to care about it because you do, and those are people that are important in your life, and so they're important to me too.
And the same for me. Like when he comes home from work, it's not all about Unique. I want to know how his day was. I want to know what the people were like at his job, how his meetings were. So it's a constant give and take. But I am very aware that this business is a huge part of our life. It's a huge part of my kids' life. Okay. Never thought. Well, you know why you never thought of it that way? And I'll be honest with you, because we talk a lot about it being what Unique does for you, what it does for you. It's your thing. It's your confidence. But as a married couple, you're one. Like you're one. And when you begin to think of something as too much of just yours, it creates a wall between the two of you. And we know walls. Like that's when bitterness comes in. That's when isolation comes in. And so as much as it is my thing that I've created, it doesn't belong to just me.
Well, and somebody just asked, if I ever get frustrated with Unique, and the answer is yeah, absolutely. But she equally gets frustrated with me and my job. And so I think it's having an awareness about that is really the key part. If you know that any job is a job, and it's work, and it's hard, just by nature. And Unique is no different, and if not more so, because of just the demand of needing to follow up with customers, needing to follow up, with your team members, and get back to that person about that thing, and so I know that pressure is always on her, and it doesn't help if I lead with my frustration in those conversations. So for me, I think it's just the awareness of just checking my feelings. And leading with mindfulness of what she's experiencing first.
And I think, someone said this is making me dislike my husband right now. That's not the goal at all. No. What I would say to that is, and I think what we would both say to that is, if your husband's not okay with this, then you need to sit down and have a conversation. Yeah. I am not okay with any woman on my team whose husband's not okay with this. I would rather you quit Unique and not do it, than be in a marriage where your husband's not okay with you doing this. It's not worth it. My success would not be worth it if we weren't good. And I think, honestly, that's what I want you to take away from this. Like, none of the success that you get with Younique will be worth it if you sacrifice your marriage for it. It just won't be worth it. Yeah. Do I have set time for kids? Yes. Like I said, our non-negotiable is that time around the dinner table. We both take time with the kids separately. You know, occasionally I'll take one of them out for breakfast or out for dinner. Yeah. You know, Luke took the kids to the movies yesterday. But there's not a set schedule. I get very overwhelmed if there's something that I'm like, okay, on every Friday, this is what I'm going to do.
Well, but that may work for you.
But it may. That's not my personality.
The key, then do that. You know, find that thing that works for you to feel like you've gotten that time in. You know, and we feel like we get that time in because we sort of know that we need to keep making that time. And so for us, it's that, you know, it depends on where the pressure is for you and what's going to help give you some positive pressure towards meeting your goal with that. So if it's spending time with your kids, what was it?
How do you determine your non-negotiables? I think when you figure out what do you value the most. And for us, you know, it's God, number one. Yeah. And so because of that, church is a non-negotiable for us. And then what do we value the most? Second after that, each other, our marriage. Yeah. So kids in bed at 8:00 so that we can have 2 hours together every night. That's a non-negotiable, which goes along with, you know, the frequency of our sex life. That's a non-negotiable. And then obviously our kids are we value them. And so, you know, that we have dinner with them every night. That's a non-negotiable. Like for Luke, I wish it was more valuable to me, but like working out is important to him. And so we may also have different non-negotiables too. I unfortunately don't have a non-negotiable about working out.
It's okay. I mean,
I wish I did, but it's just not something that apparently is high value to me. I don't know. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? This is always the weird part. There's Jessica.
Hey, Jessica.
Bates. Yes, we love Ryan. Ryan's an awesome, unique husband. Hi, Ryan. How do I balance parties with a daily schedule? That's just something where I have organized, and I can post in parties in my sleep. So I do a lot of posting in parties in the car when we're driving. I can do it, you know, very quickly. So, what was the other question that I saw in there? I didn't see it. Yes, your non-negotiables are going to be different than our non-negotiables because our non-negotiables are what we value as a family, what we value as a couple. So, all right. Luke's new job. Yeah.
So I'm a customer success manager for about 180 church accounts for a mobile app company, and we're a mobile engagement platform. So we do far more than just provide an app for churches, and obviously it's a great place for people to engage with the church through an app. So, and I came from church work, so it was just really the perfect way for me to pivot to something else from ministry work. And again,
he's going to build me an app.
Well, just wait. We'll see. But
I'm going to have a Carrie Lewis Newton app. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
How do you get your husband more involved in Younique? I just saw that question. I think it is changing your mindset first and foremost to that this is our business, not my business. Yeah. Even if you have your own money account, I mean, I know a lot of people have their own, but just, it's yours together. I ask Luke a lot of questions, like what he thinks about this. What does he think I should do about this? You know, Luke knows I keep him up to date financially on what's going on in my back office. He knows, he knows who's hitting green next. Yeah. He knows, you know.
We strategize together. We talk about, you know, what might be good approaches and
what is your husband gifted at? Look at that first. My husband's very gifted at managing people and leadership, and I knew that. And so he has helped me a lot in figuring out how to lead a team. So what's your husband gifted at? And then ask him questions about that. I know, like, my elite, Jessica Bates, Ryan is so good with numbers. Ryan's helped me with numbers. And so I know that that's how she involves Ryan a lot in her business, is asking him questions about the numbers, because he helps her a ton. He's helped us a ton figure stuff out. So what's your husband good at? And then incorporate that into your business.
Somebody asked what how do you deal with, do the kids ever guilt you to put the phone down? How do
Oh,
feel
you know
about
what? Not really. I ask my kids a lot on a regular basis, how are you doing with mommy's job? Okay. How are you doing with the time I spend? Do you feel like I'm spending enough time with you? Do you feel like I'm listening to you when you talk? And sometimes, they say no. And I have to be okay with that when they say that, and I need to reevaluate. No, my kids do not guilt me. The other thing is Luke makes sure that they don't. He talks about my job, like, this is mom's job, and we're thankful that she gets to do it from home and that she's here when you get home from work, or from school. Yeah. So they're under no illusion that I don't have if you ask my kids if I have a job, they would definitely tell you that mommy works.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I think it's changing that mindset too. You are not a stay-at-home mom. If you're doing Unique and really using it as an income, stop calling yourself that. You have the luxury of working from home, which is amazing.
The last question was just kind of balance again with all the things, because our kids all do sports as well, and I coach Silas's basketball team, so that's always, weekly practice and games on Saturday. So I think, again, a part of it is just an awareness with what everybody's feeling about the busyness of the schedule, and a flexibility to go with the flow and let it be just a pizza night on the night that there's basketball practice.
And I, put my phone down during games. That's a non-negotiable. My kid will know that I'm fully present when he's doing something. So, When I have a ton of questions for parties late in the evening, I answer them. Luke and I understand that I cannot fulfill all the needs that Luke has, and he cannot fulfill all the needs that I have. If there are days when he really needs me present in the evening, I'm going to do that, and vice versa. But for the most part, the two of us sit together with a blanket on the couch with our devices, with a TV show on usually, and we answer questions, we talk, we look through our phone. But that's part of involving him in Unique. I don't go off into my own room and do it. We sit together on the couch, sharing a blanket, and I work, and we talk, and we watch a show at the same time. We're great multitaskers. I'm not good at time management. I'm not either, really. I think that's why it's important to come up with some non-negotiables. And don't come up with a lot.
Well,
5.
And I would even say time management, like what's helped me recently in my new job particularly is I've got a lot of things coming at me. Dealing with customers like I am, and customer needs can be really intensive, and that's really what Unique is as well. And what I would say, what helps me is putting it on my calendar or putting it in a to-do list somewhere where I know that it's there and it's written down, and I can sort of get it out of my mind for a moment.
He tells me this every day.
You definitely still need to do it.
I still haven't done it.
But it's really
Maybe
great
one of you will do it
to write it down. It gets it out of sight. And I would even say your calendar is the best place to put it, because if you put it at a time in the future where and if your mind tries to remind you, oh, you didn't do this thing, well, you're going to remember, oh yeah, it's on the calendar for tomorrow at 1:00. No problem. Got it covered.
Someone just asked if you resented me in the beginning.
In the beginning?
Yeah.
I don't think so. No. I mean, I don't think there's resentment. I think it was just a bit of, it shocks your system a little bit to see somebody do really, really well and to really, for lack of a better term, flourish in what they're doing. I kind of had that experience myself in my role as a worship pastor, and had a lot of great success, and that feeling of accomplishment and fulfillment in my life came from that. And so I knew what it felt like. And so I guess part of it was really a sort of an empathy that I had to know, hey, she's getting a chance to kind of explore that in her life. And social work wasn't it. And so just to actually see her have some of those same feelings that I had previously, that was really exciting to me. So I think that was probably one of the ways I dealt with that.
I'm still here.
Did it bother me? I can't read that because your hand's in the way.
Did it bother you
to pick up more of the parenting tasks? You know what? Initially, yeah. That was a real struggle for me. I think just, I don't know if it is for every guy. I would assume it is, just because I don't think we're wired.
Where are your kids now?
Oh, they're somewhere in the neighborhood. Somewhere running around with
That's a great
They
question.
have shoes on though. They do.
Actually, I don't know that they have shoes on.
No, they do. Yeah.
Okay.
They're out. We have a lot of neighbor kids, and they play outside all the time. And so, if someone's bleeding, then they come in. But yeah, they're good. But I forget what we were talking about.
Was it the money that I made that helped you cope?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's no getting around. This is a business, right? I mean, there's no getting around that. Let's be real.
Yeah.
You do it for fulfillment, and Younique is an awesome company because of the cause that they're about as well. I love that. I love that there's more than just the sort of corporate America to Younique. So that helps me. But we make money. I mean, somebody who works hard should be paid well. And this is a great business for that. And that's where I say I ride on the potential of what it can be, because given the track record, do I sell mascara with her? I did sell one time, yes, at the bank.
She joined my team.
Yes, she did too. Yeah, so I recruited someone and I sold a mascara. I think to me there's a lot of potential given the last 18 months of our life and what happened to then what the next 18 months is going to look like.
So what would you say to a husband who is feeling unsure about this business? If his wife should do it, if they should put any eggs in this basket?
I would say just try it out, first of all, because it might be something that is, there are a lot of upsides to Younique. There are challenges and there is work, but there are a lot of upsides. And those come not just monetarily, because they can come really in your wife finding a sense of self and a sense of fulfillment, and really that thing that gets her up out of bed every day and motivates her, in that sense. Again, because we can't meet all of the needs for one another, and that's unrealistic. And I think,
I spent a really large portion of our marriage believing that Luke could meet all of my needs, and I spent a lot of time making him feel guilty for not. And I have come to a place where I realized I cannot meet all of his needs. He cannot meet all of my needs. And there are just going to be different areas of our life that do that for each other. And, that's fabulous. That's fabulous. And you want to encourage that. So, when he goes to play basketball, I can't be upset that he doesn't want to stay home with me.
You used to be.
I used to be. And I used to think it's because you don't want to be with me. No, because basketball meets a need in him that I can't meet, and I have to be okay with that because he comes home a better person. So,
yeah.
You guys should write a book. Ha!
Jeez.
Oh, Lord. Luke takes forever to write.
But when I do.
Ever. He takes
forever. I don't always write,
You're
but
right.
when I do.
Does Luke have a ton of patience? Oh, my gosh, yes. Yes, I have none. Luke has all the patience in the world. So in that sense, we are polar opposites. And then there are a lot of ways we're a lot alike. Yeah. A lot alike. Like I said, we're firstborn, so we fight a lot. Yeah. We fight a lot. But he has a ton of patience. A ton of patience. Yeah. Okay. You want an autographed copy? Okay. Well, when we write a book someday.
Okay. There you go.
She wasn't as successful. Would you still be able to back her up the same?
Definitely. If it was something that she really wanted to pursue and was enjoying doing, and I think the discussion would be a little different, and part of that, and I think this is what's going to be different for everybody, right? I mean, your husband may not be in a place where he's, looking for a different job. He might have a fantastic job that's providing super well for your family.
Right.
And ministry did that for us for a long time in the place we were at. And then it was just time to move on. And so I think for us, and if you're a husband watching as well, it might be something that just you give your wife a chance to succeed at, and I think you kind of said it earlier, but I like to think that I contributed to what your success has been.
Absolutely. Someone just asked if you contribute to my creativity at all.
Yeah.
He answers for me. Of course I do. Yes, he does. He absolutely does. And he's so willing to go along with my insane ideas. And he takes the pictures of the insane things that I do, and he videos the insane things and he's a part of some of the insane things that I do. He never tells me no, never, ever. And so in return, I reward him and never tell him no.
I'm gonna say,
Are you going to sing?
am I going to sing? Probably not. No.
But you all can thank him when he makes his own record, and we're gonna put it out there someday. I told him that's one of my goals, is that somewhere in the near future that he'll be able to take some of this unique money and create a record that he can just put out there on his own. So you can thank him for that.
Yeah.
They're not happy with you.
Oh, well, that's okay. That's okay.
All right. You don't make much with Unique yet.
Yeah.
That's a loaded question, girl. Keep at it. You know, you got to stay consistent. Yeah. And, you know, I have all of my trainings are out there for you. I made a decision a while back with Unique that I would be open with my methods, because I never want someone to look on at me and say, I can't do what she's doing. I always want to be able to say, yes, you can, and I'm going to teach you how. So go follow me on YouTube, follow me on Periscope, follow me on Facebook. And I mean, all of my methods are on there. Obviously, if you're on Team Flourish, you have a little bit more insight into my brain. And on Team Flourish, we have some amazing rock stars that you can learn from too. But the key to all of it is consistency. I mean, I've just never given up. I mean, that's that really is the bottom line. And I've not given up because I've had the support that, you know, that I needed. So. All right, customer follow-up. There's already a Periscope on that. If you search YouTube, you can search Kyra Lewis Newton follow-up, and you'll find my Periscope on customer follow-up. It was in my From White to Black series. So, is my extended family supportive? Yeah, I mean, my sister's on my team, and my mom is my biggest fan. Yeah, absolutely. But are they my customers? No. My mom gets free makeup, and my sister is on my team to get a discount. So no. Any tips for a husband who's against MLM?
I mean, I was initially too, because of just some of the stigma that's attached to it. But I think one of the key differences in Unique's expression of it is that they really try to, even though, I mean, there's some inherent things to it that you're just not going to get around. Like if you're one of the first people to buy in and everybody signs up on you, you just can't get around the fact that you're gonna be one of the top earners. It's just the way it is in the multi-level world. But what Unique really provides is chances for people to grow, you know, up from it. And in fact, I think they even talk about kind of the inverted pyramid rather than a regular pyramid kind of thing, where people can kind of go through and accelerate and sort of scale up in that sense. So I think for me, it started to be real when, you know, really when the work that she put in was evidenced from the output, you know, or I guess vice versa, you know, where the money that came in was an evidence of all the hard work. And so for us, looking at that, it's like, you know, hey, if you work hard at this thing, you know, is the multi-level a part of it? Yeah, but you know, it kind of takes care of itself. And Unique has a good approach to it, which I admire. So,
and my mindset has never been making money off my team. And I think you can see that evidenced in my sales. My mindset, I mean, yes, do I make money off my team? Absolutely. But I have always been of the mindset, I'm going to make my own money from my own sales, and I'm going to teach people how to do it. So I don't have the mindset of, we're not about making money off of people under us and not teaching them how to do it too. So, you know, I think it's your mindset. Like, how are you looking at it? You know, I don't look at it like that. I always, when I look in my back office, that first place I look is my commissions off of my PRS. I want to know where I'm at. And then the rest of it, I mean, that's icing on the cake, but I also feel like it's because I've taught other people how to do it too. And they've caught the vision. And, I get so excited when I see the girls under me getting big commission checks. You know, I love that more than my own. I mean, honestly, I can really truly say that, because that not only says something about them, it says something about me too, you know? So I love that. Mm-hmm. How long have I been with Unique? 18 months?
18 months.
18 months. Yeah. So I call it the unique hurricane. It kind of just took over our life, tornado, whatever, something.
Unique tornado. Yeah.
Something. Okay, well, we're going to wrap up unless there's any more pressing questions. And again, remember, you can share this on Facebook if you want. Share it with your teams. Please feel free. This has been fun. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
He's
Thanks
awesome.
for the chance.
He's awesome. But you all knew that because I use him to boost my algorithms on Facebook. Have you figured that out? Whenever I post something of Luke on my Facebook wall, I get the most likes, most comments, and my Facebook algorithms like shoot through the roof. So I totally use him. Kiss. It's not lip stain, it's lip gloss, so now it's all over his face. Yeah. Is Luke a worship leader? You want to go back and watch the rest of the scope, rewatch it, but yes, he is, but he is not currently working as one. So, all right. Thank you so much. Have a fabulous rest of the Sunday. Go sit on the couch with a blanket. Do your work together. Bye.